been trying to listen to more music because I think that obviously it's important to read, it's important to talk to people, but I think music has a special place where you can learn something. Sometimes there's something that you can get from music that you just cannot get anywhere else. It doesn't hit the same through spoken word, doesn't hit the same way through prose, through reading it, because I think whether it's melody or it's rhythm, there's something that you open yourself up to when there's music that you wouldn't if there wasn't. Like, it's a hard thing to explain sometimes, but there are little things that are written that stick with me. But then sometimes there's things that are just sung, and maybe it's just because of the way it's sung or something. I like that lyric. Let me think about that more, and then you chew on an idea, right? Music is incredibly powerful. Like, I think about back in Louisiana, I know somebody who she divorced her husband with a singing telegram. Now you can already imagine how different it hits to maybe be at a dinner and demand a divorce. I'm sick of this. I'm tired of you. I'm always putting up with the same stuff. I want a divorce. You know what I mean? Your server is like, so no dessert. Or even if you just write someone a letter, they're sitting at home reading this letter in this unsealed envelope. They're just sitting there reading it like, what? But to have a singing telegram show up, knock on your door, be hitting the music, little stereo, standing there. Beat starts, they're just, I am your singing telegram. And then they give you the worst news of your life. Dancing to it too. She doesn't want to see you anymore. You become a bore. She wants a divorce. And putting his hand out for a tip. You know, music hits different. I think sometimes one of the most beautiful ways to remember somebody that you lost is through music. You know, sometimes you'll tell a story or something, and if the story doesn't hold a significance for a person, it just doesn't. They don't capture the thing that you captured when you talked to them or when the story happened. Maybe you had to be there, maybe you had to know the person. But when somebody leaves a song behind, that's like timeless in a way. We lost a very important person. Legendary person. We lost Quincy Jones, right? And if you don't know who Quincy Jones is, just educate yourself. I mean, Quincy Jones is not just a legend, an icon of culture, of music, but something deeper, like understood. Quincy understood people, understood music, understood storytelling, right? Quincy was one of the master collaborators. There were people that you love and you love their work and you don't know Quincy's in it. You know? Like that, it's that way with Michael Jackson. Quincy and Michael Jackson had major hits. Michael Jackson owed some of his biggest hits to his collaborations with Quincy Jones because Quincy could help pull out the best parts of the person that he was collaborating with. And there's even stories. There's legendary stories that Quincy Jones has told. More stories than I could ever even attempt to describe. Like, crazy stuff. This man lived one of the most remarkable lives in American history. And there's stories that are so insane that Quincy's like not even in the story, but he's in the story. Like he's not even a part of the story, but the story came together because of Quincy. As an example, I heard this story. It's a little bit less than a rumor, but a part of me wants it to be true because it's fantastic. Quincy had daughters. Quincy's daughters were, one of them was Khadijah, and at one point Khadijah apparently was dating Tupac, right? And this still blows my mind. So Tupac, through potential collaborations that they were supposed to do, knows Michael Jackson. right? Michael Jackson obviously knows Quincy Jones from the hits that they made together and everything. But there's this one time when Tupac was leaving somewhere with Khadijah, like I don't know if it was like a dance club or something like that, but they were having an argument. And you know, one of those arguments that you see where you're like, I don't know, is this bad? This is like, you know, like as a couple when you see them, and maybe it was that whisper fight, and you know that thing that couples do. It's like, I'm just. That's a big one at restaurants, you know. Oh yeah, you ever date somebody that could curse you out with those whispers? They hitting all the F's. Nobody hears, but. And you know, if you passing by, I don't know, is this a bad fight? Who knows? Or maybe they were having a screaming match. It doesn't seem like it because it seemed like kind of one-sided. Like Tupac was very annoyed with Khadijah trying to get her to come along and everything. And we've all been in a situation, if you've just been out, where you've seen a couple argue and you're like, is this bad? Do you know what I mean? Like you've been in a Walmart parking lot. Where you were like, is this just how they talk to each other? Or like, should I step in or something? Because this is uncomfortable, you know? And I'm not picking on Walmart. I've been to a Golden Corral and just waiting to be seated and you're like, all right, they about to eat together? That doesn't seem like a happy occasion. And so, you know, Tupac was saying something tantamount to like, come on, girl, hurry up, come on, right? But they're leaving as Michael Jackson is coming in, and Michael Jackson sees this. And so he approaches Tupac because of the closeness that he has with Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones' daughters are like Tupac's nieces to a certain degree. It's like that with any close friendship, you know? This is your uncle. Well, we're not related, but that's your uncle, right? And he says, hey, is everything okay? I don't like how you're talking to her. You need to chill out. You need to calm down, right? And then Tupac apparently says to Mike, hey, back up, all right? This is none of your business. Be about your way, all right? And then Mike was like, no, you don't understand. This is pretty much my niece. You're not going to talk to her any type of way, especially in public. You need to calm down, right? And then tells him again, you need to back up. You need to back off, right? And then according to the story, Michael Jackson beat Tupac's ass. I know how it sounds. But this is my thing. When I look at Tupac, I look at Michael Jackson, I can't help but wonder if the two of them, in a way, are like the inverse of each other. You know? Because we've seen from footage of this person that Tupac is, right? This incredibly adept poet, this person who pulls the tenderness out of horrific things and expresses that tenderness back through music or just through written word. That type of poet, that person is in some ways a sensitive person, like a sensitive soul. Maybe not soft, maybe not, you know, but there's someone who clearly has a sensitive side that they can access. And I think that a lot of like thug life, a lot of the street stuff, some of that is to sell records. Some of that he was really living. But you can't help but wonder how much of this persona is a persona to sell, to market, and how much of this is actually him. Because what if, when no one's around, behind closed doors, when you're just chilling, this guy is a sweetheart, sensitive person. You know, it's what's been said about him through people who knew him. And you look at Michael Jackson. We know Michael Jackson was abused horribly. Joe Jackson beat those kids. And you go through your life like that with abuse, it can harden a person. And maybe behind closed doors, when no one was around, maybe Mike was like a little bit more hardened than we'd like to believe. You know? So imagine that. You're fighting Michael Jackson. It's gotta be upsetting. I can't imagine trying to fight Michael Jackson, the king of pop. I can't imagine him fighting without doing moves for no reason. Imagine trying to fight Michael Jackson and he punching you, but he moving his leg. The leg not involved in the punch. You have the king of pop, right? And you have Tupac. Tupac is on the Everest of hip hop, right? Tupac, for better or for worse, created an entire lane of hip hop that people went down and either created some of the best artistry that I think personally has been known to man musically, and then some people who leaned into the street side a little too much and it just became something destructive. But Tupac is up there, and Tupac is who you would imagine would be beating on anybody, right? I'm not saying Tupac couldn't fight. All I will say is that the one fight that I saw Tupac in is the one that we can all see him in. It's the night that he was fighting with those dudes in Vegas. You know? A bunch of guys on his side, guys on the other side, everybody getting beat. I'm not saying Tupac couldn't fight. I'm saying the way that I saw him fighting in that video looked like the way all of us might try to double dutch. Do you know what I mean? Because there was a big cartoonish scuffle, just feet in the air, fists out of the, you know what I mean? Just like, you know, like with those Looney Tunes smoke clouds of fights and everything, and Tupac was outside of it, and you could tell he was trying to find his place. He was like, and now, you're fighting Michael Jackson. Someone so horrifically coordinated. He hitting you and then pop it and lock it. Doing all these extra moves and stuff. Michael Jackson probably the only person in human history that could be beating somebody's ass and sound like he getting beat at the same time. Just, he punching you, kicking you, and then he the one be like, ow! Be mad as hell. You trying to fight Michael Jackson. You trying to swing on him and everything. And every time you think you really got a good one, you planned it out, you know, the fist is gonna go in his face and I'm swinging with all your might. And then he just doing these dumbass leans. It's gotta be terrifying. Trying to fight Michael Jackson, he got enough cardio to dance for 3 concerts. You know, and he thin too, so he hard to hit, he moving off. You swinging at him, he's saying stuff to you, words that don't make any sense. Tamagotchi. What am I supposed to do? Whispering to you. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, especially if you have a fondness for a person, there's at least rumor that there are these tracks that got scrapped between Michael Jackson and Tupac. They were supposed to be on some songs together, right? So it's not as if they didn't know each other. And now imagine, you know this person. And you don't want to hurt them. They were talking disrespectfully to someone else that you love, and maybe they pushed you first, and now you're fighting, and then, you know, you hit them, and you hit them hard. You hit them real good. Now Tupac bent over and everything. Michael Jackson, I don't even want to say it, but he's like, are you okay? You know, the way I imagine it, Tupac gathered himself and was like, no, I'm not done. I can't go out like this. And he was written back in, you know, swinging at him and everything. And then Michael Jackson went to kicking. And that, even when Michael Jackson was dancing, he wouldn't kick normal. He was never just like doing a kick. It was always like his leg was gonna come off. The whole kick. And now you stand there, you've been kicked 17 times, you still standing up, got all these footprints on you like you got run over at a marathon or something. Your friends roll up to you and now you gotta be like, It was 6 of them. They came out of nowhere. They all had the same shoe on. Oh. This is brutal. You know what I mean? Imagine you fighting somebody you respect, too. You gotta fight one of your heroes. It's unnerving. Beating you up. Fixing his hat for no reason. Because hearing about this fight, hearing about this rumor reminded me of a different rumor that I heard about Michael Jackson. Something that, I don't know. I mean, it's you can take it or leave it. I don't know. It's something that I believed for a little while because of who was saying it. But basically, Michael Jackson had such a passion for the specific art that he was doing. Not just the music, not just the spectacle, but just the whole thing. So much so that he would let it spill off stage, and all of it became a persona, all of it became a presentation, performance, almost all the time. And one of the ways that it presented itself was not just in how he dressed and how he looked and stuff, but also how he spoke. Because there's an idea that if you can be meek enough, if you could be gentle enough, if you could be soft-spoken enough, that people's perceptions of you will almost pass past you and just see the music. If you're not this big, larger-than-life character, if you're not getting in trouble all the time, maybe if people can just see me as this, like, the same kid that they fell in love with, now just making bigger and better things, maybe they'll love the bigger and better things I have to make, right? And so there's a rumor from a few different people who knew Mike well, who would chill with him, sometimes just out by themselves when there was no risk of being seen by the public. And they said that that voice, the voice that we know as Michael Jackson, the voice that's been, imitated over decades, was not his voice. That's what they said, that if you were hanging out with Michael Jackson, you just chilling with him at his time, he actually had a way more like level register than that, which is something that shocked me, because I was like, wow, imagine putting that much into a performance, that it's like off stage and it's everywhere, and it's everyone that you meet, you're shaking hands with people, you're meeting people, and that's still not quite you. You're still putting it on a little bit, right? But now imagine you're fighting Michael Jackson. And not only is he beating your ass, but every once in a while he's like, come here, bitch. Like, that's gotta be maybe the most shocking part. I don't know what I would do. You're fighting Michael Jackson, and he's making 3 different noises at the same time. He got a low one, he got a high one. He's saying weird stuff. Not only do you have to fight Michael Jackson, you got to fight a possessed version of Michael Jackson, I'm assuming, because you've never heard him talk like this. No. That's one of the funniest images I have in my head, is Michael Jackson punching you in your forehead, and they'd be like, what's up, nigga? Like, that's... No, what's really hood, dog? What's really... Imagine, and you're Tupac, you're getting beat, presumably in front of some people, by Michael Jackson. At a certain point, you gotta be like, guys, somebody must have a gun. Shoot this man. Even if you try to shoot him, Michael Jackson probably like catching the bullets. Well, maybe he knocks you down. You laying on the ground. You ever seen somebody get beat? I know I'm digressing to digress, but like this, you ever see somebody get beat up real bad, and all of a sudden it's almost like they have a cold or something because they start coughing. You know, it's like they get punched a couple times, they're like, and then Michael Jackson rolls you over with his foot, walks around you all disrespectful, just fixing his belt and stuff. He's standing over you. You don't know what's about to happen next. You don't know if he's gonna curb dance you or... You're waiting for him. Is Michael Jackson gonna kill me? And then he's looking down at you. Maybe you even try to get up one more time. Maybe you got a little fight left. I can't go out like this. I have Thug Life tattooed on me. Give it all you got. You swinging at Michael Jackson. You kicking at him and stuff. And you got to worry about extra. You got to worry about like extra things with Mike. You know, you got to worry about his kicks, his punches. You know, you also got to worry about his pelvis. He also moving that all weird and stuff. Imagine somebody punching at you and then just. I don't know what to do with that. It's very upsetting. Michael Jackson punches you down to the ground again. You hit the ground. You're like, this is it. He's going to kill me. And he's standing over you, towering over you. And when you're waiting for him to hit you with that death blow, he just goes. I don't know, it probably didn't happen, but it's fun to dream.
Hey friends, I have some great news for you. So this week, I'm going to be hosting The Daily Show for the very first time. I'm hosting tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. And this show has meant a lot to me for a long time. I started there as a writer in 2017, and I've loved it ever since. I've loved the people, I've loved the process, and for the first time, I get to sit behind the desk. And if you've ever wondered what the show would look like through my lens, well, this is your chance to watch it. And I just want to say thank you, because this is in no small part because of you, because of this community, because of everything that we're doing on this channel is a lot of what led to this opportunity. And so I appreciate you very, very much. And if you are inclined, if you're in the area, go ahead and watch Comedy Central live or on the Paramount Plus app. There will also be YouTube videos of clips of it dropping as well. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy seeing me host. I have some amazing guests, and I'm excited to bring the show to you in the best way that I can. And I hope you enjoy the video this week. Bye.
Please make it loud for John Johnson!
Okay. All right. Look. Okay. So we are in week 2 of they're like kind of being files, but no files. But like there's kind of like we don't know, but he doesn't know, but he knows, but he doesn't remember, but he wasn't there. But even if he was there, it's not what you think. But like it's a lot going on, right? And so with everything that fell out with Trump last week, now you have people being like, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, right? And in prison is Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, in case you're not familiar with Ghislaine Maxwell, like one of the central people to this case, she trafficked for Jeffrey Epstein, right? And she is still alive somehow, and in prison, okay? Yeah, so she's still alive in prison, right? And she actually got 20 years for her part in this trafficking. And so now with Trump calling Epstein a hoax, there's been a lot of, how do I put this? There's been a lot of unintelligible takes on if he's saying the entire thing is a hoax or just his involvement is a hoax, or no one can really tell. There's not a lot of like centered messaging on what is supposed to be the narrative here. And because of that, now you got Ghislaine and her lawyers from prison being like, oh, well, if it's a hoax. No, I'm just saying if like nobody got trafficked to anybody, then I'd like to appeal, right? And then there's people that are like, the client list. We need the client list. We need the little black book. We need the client list. Why won't they release things? And then you even had Democrats saying in the House, like, we want to release the files, and they put it to a vote. And Republicans voted to block that release. And they voted to block that release, they said, because, oh, it was part of another bill and it would have passed a bunch of stuff we don't want to pass. So then a bipartisan group went out and they were like, now we should vote on this, and it's Epstein stuff only, right? So everyone's like, release the files, right? And then Ghislaine is like, I got the files. I got them in my head. Like, I'll tell you right now, which is such a crazy thing to me to watch. If you've been watching this whole thing take place, Ghislaine got arrested in like 2020. I think she got sentenced in like 2022, and she's been in jail this whole time. Why is she just now saying, I got the list? It feels like when your boy who like really thought he was gangster finally goes to jail and gets like the first roach in his sandwich, and he's like, I'll tell anything you need me to know, like anybody. If you have any questions, I will answer follow-up questions. Just please get me out of here. I think there's rats in the cheese, please. And so you had Trump really stressing this week, stressing hard, going back and forth with people. This man's getting more comfortable cursing out loud and on text. Like, he's crazy. Just like decorum's fully out the window. Like, there wasn't much of it to begin with, but now he's just like, ah! And this is the other thing that trips me up, is that they're throwing everything they can in front of this like Epstein monster, like Pac-Man, right? Let's just throw this while we run away. And they never admit that Trump isn't doing well in any way, ever. And then they came out saying he had chronic venous, I don't really know what that third word is, I'm not gonna lie to you. But basically he got chronic veins or something. I don't know if that means he got extra, or I don't know what it is, but it's affecting, you know, his health a little bit, and his hand looks like he got an ace bandage on it, but like that's his skin, right? And so I saw that and I was like, wow, they must really want this thing to go. Talk about anything else, please. And then just today, Tulsi Gabbard released these Obama Russia files. You know, the files everybody's talking about. You know, the files that just last week were like, when they gonna release those Obama Russia files? Why can't they get the Obama? What is Obama hiding? All right? We want his Russia files. You know, we've been hungry, thirsty for some Obama Russia files. Ooh, I can't wait to it. I can taste them. Let me get those Obama Russia files. That's so bad. That's so bad. It means you have nothing. You truly have nothing to throw in the way of this thing, because Obama Russia file, you won. You won in 2016, you won in 2024. I haven't read the Obama Russia files, admittedly. I haven't read them yet. But I have a spoiler alert for you. Trump came out on top. And he over here stressing when he could have just done nothing. Eventually, he's in the White House, he's asked about it, and he's like, look, if Pam Bondi finds anything credible, she can release it. That's all he had to say the whole time. He could have avoided this entire thing if he had just said that, look, if the AG finds something credible, she can release it. And then people really don't have much to say because it's like, that's what they want. He says you're going to get it. I don't know if that's true, but like, that's all you have to do. Keep your calm, play it cool. Instead, he was like, why would you, And it's because he felt caught. And the only people who within this week have been as caught as Trump and reacted as badly was that couple at the Coldplay concert. I thought I was shocked when I saw like Trump's Epstein files tweets, right? This thing, the clip is about 14 seconds. I've been watching it for 20 hours. Okay, all right. In case you haven't seen this, it's a Coldplay concert, right? Coldplaying. Coldplay doing their thing, all right? Being colds. Coldplaying particularly hard that night. And they did this thing that's becoming more popular at big concerts, because Coldplay doing like a stadium. And there's a thing that you can do at a public event, like an entertainment event, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whatever, where you can put out a cam into the audience. And I don't know how to describe it, but when you do that, it does make the entire thing, as big as it is, feel more intimate. Because now you're over here enjoying Coldplay, and you see the other people there enjoying Coldplay, and they're just like you. And they're just as excited to be on the screen as you would be to be on the screen. And they're having such a good time, you know? And so you're like, this is amazing. We're all here together enjoying this thing. I genuinely like those cams because it reminds us that we're all doing the same thing, having a good time, you know? And if we're all doing the same thing, having a good time, maybe we're more alike than we think. If we're more alike than we think, then maybe when we leave the basketball game, when we leave the show, whatever, we have less reason to argue. We have less reason to look at each other as like just completely different entities. It's like, you're just like me. You like Coldplay. You know, and I'm not you know, a big enough act to do like a stadium or anything like that. I don't really have screens at my shows and stuff. But I heard that the CEO of the largest tech firm in Louisville was here tonight, and so I brought a cam out tonight. If you want to. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I can't afford that at all. No, but if you didn't see the clip, is basically Coldplay throwing people up on the cam and having little interactions, or like playing a little something just for them, or just commenting on how sweet people look. And they're going, people, people, people. And then they go to this couple. It's not just any couple. They go to a couple holding each other Titanic style. And to be fair to her, she didn't have the arms out like Rose. She was holding his arms. And then Chris Martin is like, look at this couple. And I don't know, okay. This is where I wish I knew more about like technology and the brain and stuff like that, because the same way that there is latency on the internet and there's a delay on a call where sometimes you can hear yourself in someone else's side of the phone call, and you can hear how you spoke, but there's a delay. It's like a second later you hear your own voice, what you just said as you're speaking. So it takes a second. And I don't know, because I've never been in a situation where I've been on a big camera like that, the amount of time it takes your brain to register that that's you that you looking at. Because they're over here, Titanic style. If you've ever seen the film Titanic, and if you're a 90s baby, you know that when Titanic came out initially, home release, it was on VHS. And it's such a long movie, it's such an epic, that there were 2 VHS tapes. If you're young and you don't know what a VHS is, don't tell anybody that. Keep that to yourself and Google it, all right? It makes people feel bad when we have to explain that we used to have to basically bring a projector home inside a hard casing and then put it in a VCR. If you don't know what a VCR is, that's some other letters you don't need to worry about, okay? You're never gonna come in contact with them in your life, but you would put the VHS into the VCR, you would hit play. You understand play, right? You're not too young for play. You would hit play and it would play the thing like it does on demand, but we didn't have on demand yet. Netflix wasn't born yet. We didn't know what streaming was. And Titanic came out and it was such a long movie. I hadn't seen this 2 VHSs. I hadn't seen that since Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments. If you're too young to know what Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments are, it is also a film, but that film is almost as old as the people the film is about, all right? That movie is about Moses, who probably had a VCR, really. Like when you think about how long ago Moses was and when we used VCRs. But Titanic came home with you would add 2 VHS tapes. And you watch the first VHS tape of Titanic and it plays till about half the movie. And then it tells you to enter tape 2. Tape 2, which will be far more depressing. If you were like me and you shopped at a lot of like thrift stores, sometimes when you go to a thrift store, you don't get to get the thing the way it was intended when it was sold. You might go to a thrift store and buy Titanic and think you got all the Titanic in one VHS tape. And then bring Titanic home and watch Titanic, but you only watch tape 1. And so you don't even know that there's a tape 2 until the end of the VHS where it says insert tape 2, and you don't have it. So you're like, all right, I'm just gonna have to settle with what I got, which was a very sweet story about 2 people who met on an epic adventure. I think I'm willing to leave it there. And it's not until years later you find out the horror that is Titanic Part 2. Part 2 where everything going awry. And all I can say is the first 2 seconds that this couple was on the kiss cam looked a lot like Titanic VHS tape 1. And then when they realize that they are the camera, it looks a whole like Titanic VHS tape 2. Honestly, they look like they on the Titanic. When about tape 2 takes place. And so you see them. And this is where things went wrong. Because rather than just playing it cool, than just, chilling, the woman immediately covers her face and whips around. Okay, all right, look, look. Don't judge, okay? When I was a kid, there were kids in my neighborhood who went a totally different direction than I did, right? And sometimes I'd hear about them, and you especially hear about them if you stop seeing them around. And I quickly got used to the idea that if I hadn't seen somebody a long time, they probably didn't just move away. They may have been locked up. Something may have happened to them, right? And there was a kid who was nice enough a few blocks down. Sometimes I would walk to work in the morning, and it was a long walk. And I would pass his house, and sometimes he'd be out front of his house with people. I'd say hi, they'd say hi. We weren't like close or anything. And one day when I was back home from college, I went to this hookah lounge with my friends. And at the hookah lounge were the guys who I used to pass by when I was in high school, working that job, running every day to work. And I asked them where, the fourth was, the dude that was usually with them. And they were like, oh, yeah, no, he doing a little time. I was like, what happened? And they were like, well, he ran up in this store to rob it. And, he had he was pretending to have a gun and everything. And not only did he not have a gun, the store clerk wasn't scared of him. And so he's over here doing one of these. Let's talk about this real quick. Because I've known people who have had people run up on them And they didn't see the gun, but they were sure they had a gun because of the way they moved with it, right? A little bit of weight to it. Maybe it was tucked. Maybe it was in the pocket. But there was just a slight motion that they had. There was just a way that they were behaving, where if they didn't have a gun, this is some great acting. But this man, he ran up into the store. Give me everything. Do it now. I'm not messing around. I would hate for this to go off. And so the store clerk kept his cool, and he was like, no. He's like, what do you mean? I am armed. Ready to kill. Oh, you don't think I'll do it? I'm crazy. And the store clerk, apparently, according to their story, told me, I don't think you'll do anything because... And he points up, and he looked up at the corner, and he was on camera without a mask. And so apparently he went, and walked out the store. I understand the immediate reaction to want to cover your face when you realize you're on camera. But don't do it with your fake gun hand. But he got arrested from rolling up in there and even the attempt and everything. And so he did a little time in jail. And I'm just saying, you're on the kiss cam, and immediately something seems awry when you go, oh! And that by itself wouldn't have actually been that bad. No, I'll tell you right now, this is what I firmly believe. I truly believe this from the bottom of my heart. I think that obviously, there's something up when you see yourself on the cam and go, oh, and then you turn around. But, like Chris Martin said, later in the video, maybe shy. Maybe you're shy. And if only one of them had reacted badly, if only one of them had reacted badly, they might not be in this situation. But she went, oh! And then the man just starts to sink. Where did he go? No, for real, where did this dude go? This man didn't just duck under what he thought the camera could cover. This man got caught. She turned around and he went, ooh, But like, where did he go? Like, truly, where was he? He never comes back. Did he open a portal? He might have been in an abyss. This was one of the crazy, because then he's gone and then she's just standing there. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know where their seats are, but it seems like he jumped. I was crying. This man went under everyone, I suppose. Fully disappeared. And then Chris Martin went, either that couple is really shy or they're having an affair. And the internet said, or? No, that's an affair, dog. Tried to be gracious just in case, but no. That was wild, and then we didn't know it yet. But there was another woman off to the side that presumably knows everything that's happening with them. And wow, people find out quick. The internet works quick. Internet was like, I got all night. I'm not at the Coldplay concert. And within hours, people found this dude's name, where he worked. They found her. They found out that they weren't married to each other. This man married, and then, the internet did a thing where, look. I do think it's important that people know the truth about what's happening in their lives. And I can only hope, genuinely hope, that the people that reached out to that dude's wife did it with at least some tact. But a lot of people reached out to her, commented, this is where your husband's at. He's at the Coldplay concert. The Coldplay concert, from my research, isn't even that far from where you live because I already went ahead and doxed him. I just want you to know. And so then people looked him up, and then they looked her up, and early into people looking her up, she had changed her last name on social, apparently. Knocked his name off. And then it looks like she deleted or made private her socials altogether, which I completely understand. And then people started looking into him. And this is the thing about treating people badly. As soon as something blows up like this, anything you ever did comes out. This dude cheating on his wife, and then other people were giving their little testimonies. Oh, I worked with him. He's actually terrible. He makes toxic work environments. He's incredibly abusive to his employees, saying all this stuff, right? And I don't know if these people actually work with him or not. It's so hard to tell what about this is real versus people just trying to get in versus people trying to be part of it and stuff. And then I had a moment, genuinely, I had a moment where I was like, what if? Let's entertain for a second. What if this isn't real? I genuinely thought, because some of the kiss cam stunts, some of the things they do at sports games are completely fake. They'll be a fake proposal just to make everybody laugh and maybe go viral, and maybe they'll sell some more Bruins tickets. And then I even thought to myself, okay, you don't really see this happen in music. So maybe, what if this was Coldplay? What if Coldplay was look, this is what we gonna do, all right? We're gonna get the cam up, we're gonna show a bunch of people, we're gonna get it on one couple. They're gonna freak out, Jerry Springer style, all right? One of them gonna duck, he's never gonna come back. He disappears for life. She stands there. The lady next to her, who is supposedly her friend, laughs at their lives crumbling in front of her. It'll go viral. Everybody will be talking about the Coldplay concert. Everybody will be talking about what song we played right before it happened. genuinely, you have to entertain a lot of things when you're trying to sift through if something's real or not. You have to be skeptical of everything. And I thought about it, and then I saw how Chris Martin moved on after that. And then I saw a wide shot, and I saw that the stadium looked sold out. So I was like, actually, it looks like Coldplay is doing fine. That theory is in the dirt. This looks very real. And then I thought about the company, you know, Andy, his name is Andy. Andy works at a company called Astronomer. I had never heard of Astronomer. I don't think anybody was talking about Astronomer 2 days ago. So then for a second I was like, what if? Astronomer, a tech company, hire Coldplay to do a stadium show. Coldplay does the stadium show. They have all their fans there. The fans don't know that Coldplay's getting a little bit of money on the side for what's about to happen, and then they throw the camera on the CEO. They throw the camera on the CEO and another employee. And then they create this whole scandal. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about Astronomer. What is Astronomer? Oh, it's an AI company. What do? Oh, they help manage workflow. These are conversations nobody was having 2 days ago. The assumption when you're in the news, when there's a scandal with your CEO, is that your stock price could drop. I don't know if it's a public company, but if the stock price is dropping, it seems like a good time to buy. Maybe that's when they buy back their own stock. And then as soon as I was sitting in my room thinking all this, I was like, I think I've been too deep in this Epstein thing. Like, I think that maybe I have a problem. And I just it's really changing how my brain works. And then there's the fallout of this dude, not only is he caught cheating in front of thousands of people, in front of the internet, but also we find out he's a CEO. We're not gonna find much grace there. People aren't really fans of CEOs right now. And then on top of being a CEO, he's a billionaire. You basically made a Venn diagram of the three people that people hate the most. And it's a circle with your name in it. Because it is a terrible thing. A terrible thing that happened. And I just think about how that's something that happens now. You know? Our grandparents, our great-great-parents would have never got caught. No, people's grandparents had whole extra families. And as long as you were willing to be a gentleman about it and really take care of both families, they never met. You know, you went on your family vacation with one family beginning of the summer, family vacation with a second family at the end of the summer, because there used to just be more affordability in the US. A lot of people talk about how back in my day, I could buy a house right out of college. And it's yes, and afford an extra family. Don't forget that. I've talked about this before. I've known people growing up who had that thing happen, where the granddad, they have cousins and half brothers and sisters because of what the granddad did back in the day. And he was doing that on a job that doesn't even exist anymore. That's how much things have changed. This man had 2 whole families as a traveling fork salesman. This man man would just go up to people's doors and be like, look, eventually in your life you will come across some spaghetti. And when that happens, you'll want to be, he sounded like life insurance, you're going to want to be ready when that spaghetti is in front of you, all right? You don't want to be sitting here like a fool with a knife and a spoon. You want to be ready with that spaghetti, all right? And how you get ready? My forks. I got the best forks. My forks can do anything. I got fine dining forks. I got regular forks. I got the nickel forks. You know those forks made of nickel they'll never rust because they're always kind of rusty. If you need forks, I can get it right, all right? Got all types of forks. I got the 4-prong, I got the 3-prong, I got he bad at counting. And then people let him in. He's like, looking at this, was it two bedroom? Two-bedroom house? How many kids you got? Oh, you got 3 kids in a 2-bedroom house? You're gonna need at least 16 forks. Made his living selling forks. One day, somebody opened the door for this man and he's immediately smitten. Oh, hello. She's like, yes, how can I help you? He's like, oh, I was trying to, I had this briefcase where I was trying to like fork you, like I just want to, no, I'm trying to give you fork. I mean, I'm trying to sell you forks. I sell forks. My name is John. And then she lets him in. And they get to talking about forks. And then about other things. And he doesn't tell her he's got a wife at home. And they start an affair. An affair where maybe she knows about the wife, maybe she doesn't. But then things grow. They feel like they're in love. They're like, let's get married. He marries her. Now he's got 2 fork families to support. Now he's got to sell forks harder than ever. He's got to go to as many doors as possible because the kids need braces. All of them. No, just he sells as many forks as he can, and then one day, one fateful day, sadly, a Sears opens. He's out of business immediately. If you're young and you don't know what Sears is, it was like a department/everything store where basically it was like Amazon, but you had to go. There was no click. You had to leave the house to go to Amazon, and then you had to go put everything in your cart yourself, and then you had to buy it yourself. It was like working at the factory at Amazon, except you just grabbed what you needed and you left. But then one day Sears opens, he realizes he's ruined. What else is he gonna do? He's only good at selling forks. And so he has to sit his family down. Be like, look, I'll be right back. I'm going to get cigarettes. And then he goes to his other home, his other family, and he's like, sit down, y'all. I have something to tell you. It's important. I have to go get cigarettes. And then he would go off and he'd have his own life, and he would die with a lot of life insurance, and then the 2 families wouldn't meet each other until it was time to collect. And that was the gentlemanly way to cheat in the 30s. All right? Because a CEO of a company dating, openly cheating with, I didn't know this was a real title, with the CPO, which CPO, I found out today, stands for Chief People Officer, which sounds like the most made-up job I've ever heard in my entire life. That job sounds very fake. Chief People Officer sounds like what you say at Thanksgiving when you go home unemployed, knowing that your brother is a doctor and your sister's a lawyer. I'm the Chief People Officer. Oh, and I'm Master of Business. That is crazy. I know it's a real job, I know it's a real title and everything, but just, you could have named it something else. To say that you're in the C-suite, just Chief People Officer, really sounds like it was not on anyone's mind before the name came out of their mouth. It's like, we have to give her a title. What's the title? She's head of HR. No, she was already head of HR. She got promoted. What is she over again? HR and personnel and hiring. It's like, okay, Chief People Officer? I don't know. No, it was crazy. It was crazy. And now it just recolors everything with that company. Now they're probably having an investigation right now. You know? Makes you take a second look at everything that happened between them, like performance reviews. Apparently, in one of the performance reviews, the CEO said that the CPO, this is what I read, this might not be right, because everybody talking. But apparently the CEO said the CPO had deeply extensive and impressive knowledge. And that's nasty. That's, I know what he's trying to say. That's, no. That is inappropriate, if anything. I hope they take you down just for that. That's unacceptable. You know? You shouldn't do things that you know are wrong. And I think when you get caught, it's also important to know you're caught and to handle it as best as possible. And I think that as far as that kiss cam couple goes, the only way they could have handled that thing worse was if they had held up signs that said there are no Epstein files. Like, I've been having trouble. I can't stop thinking about how we've gone from this like 36-hour news cycle that we were kind of in last year to now this sort of 12-hour, maybe even 6-hour news cycle that we're in now. It's just everything bombards you all the time, and there's no time to take in a story as it's happening. As soon as a story happens, there's another thing to replace it that's the big deal for this 20 minutes, you know? And it's hard to even vet stories now. Like, there'll be a story that seems like a big deal, but the more you think about it, the more you're like, why'd you tell me that? But it'll be big news for a second, and then it'll be like, oh, but then that was just wasting my time, okay? Like, I don't know if you saw, but apparently after all this time, they've nailed it down. They've solved it. Apparently, we got Jack the Ripper. Some would say a little late. Some would definitely say that all the women alive now are worried about the men alive now. But at least we got Jack the Ripper, you know? He eluded us for a while, but he couldn't hide forever. Apparently, some guy claims he nailed it down with some DNA, and after I finished reading it, I was like, yep. Think he got away with it. Because that's the thing, it's like you're inundated with so many different notifications, so many different news stories going down the line. You can't even enjoy the little things that aren't even quite news, but like, remember when a video would be viral for like a whole day? And we'd all share it for like a day. We at least used to have a day. And now there's so much news, you don't get to enjoy anything for like a full day. And not everybody even sees the thing that's dope. Like, this is just me personally, but I've very much been enjoying how terribly these Dove releases have been going at funerals. In case you're not familiar. There are some funerals where everybody can't get like a 21-gun salute or anything like that. So they'll do something special, whether the funeral director suggests it or the family wants it, and they'll have these doves. And it depends on how they want to do it for the funeral, right? Some people say some sweet words and they release one dove at a time. Some people say some sort of message. They give a eulogy either at the cemetery or at another special place to the person that passed, and then they release all the doves at one time. But one thing that's been happening consistently is they will stand people in the line and give them the cue to release the dove. And when you see a dove release, it does make you feel something. It's like a powerful thing. I understand why it's such a symbol for people. But the last few videos I've seen, the doves do just sort of die rather than fly away. There's one video that is truly spectacular. It is art to the point where I worried it was a sketch. There's 3 family members standing in a row, and this first one's cute to throw the dove up, and she even bends her knees a little bit, really give it some oomph, and the dove bounces off her hands and then bounces off the ground. As she snaps back, she's like, ooh, I hope that's not an omen. And then the second person releases their dove, and that dove flies off beautifully. And you're like, okay, not so bad. And then the third person goes to release his dove, and I think he knew his was dead. If anything, I feel like he pitched that one. He was trying to like, if I can toss it high enough, maybe it'll wake. There was another funeral where they were doing dove releases, and they had like 5 people lined up, and they were doing a different like stanza to this poem, and at every break in the stanza they released one of the doves and stuff, and they were getting close to the end. So this I don't know if this woman was number 5 or number 4, but she was whispering at the funeral director the entire time, "He dead." And the funeral director's like, what? Hand me another one, he dead. And the funeral director's like, that's all I brought. So, what do you mean that's all you brought? He clearly dead. She's like, funeral director looking at him, trying not to interrupt the beautiful poem that's being read, and he's like, no, he's asleep. He's asleep, he'll wake up, just throw him, he'll wake up. You throw him, he'll wake up. And they released the second picture, and the third picture is right here, and she's like, this is a dead bird in my hand. Don't play with me. Find another bird. And it's like, I swear it's asleep, just throw it. And then the third person throws theirs up, and then they read the poem, and the woman's standing there like, You could tell they get the like last couple lines of the poem, and this woman holding this bird goes. She just tried to like waste bird up, and then they end the poem. Everybody looking at her, and the field director like. And then sure enough, she go to, and the bird just plopped down. And she was looking at the field director daggers like, this your boy? And then the fifth person, their dove fly off, no problem. So everybody got a good dove, except for her. I felt for her. One thing I don't know if everybody thinks about when it comes to those dove releases is where they go. What's next? I don't know anything about this, so I don't know if the dove returns and they just know to go to the funeral director's house or something. I'm assuming they start a new life. Like, I'm assuming the dove gets thrown in the air. It was like, what a beautiful ceremony. I didn't know him, but y'all sent him off right. And then they fly off and try to get things going themselves. I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like to be like a released dove at a Bronx funeral. You're a released dove at a Bronx funeral. And then you land on some roof somewhere, you're like, all right, I guess I gotta get my bearings. And then a pigeon land right behind you, just, what's up, sweet thing? Pigeon just seemed like a very rub the belly bird, It's like, how you doing, huh? Hey, you looking fine as hell, no spots or nothing. Hey, you must be new to the city. Let me show you around. I know where the good spots are. But that's the world we're in now, Nothing but news stories, nonstop. Everything's coming at you. We've gone from this 36-hour news cycle to the 12-hour, 6-hour, 4-hour on a really bad day. And you cannot care about everything. You can't, you want to have empathy, and especially when something's big, you want to care about it for as much attention as you feel like it deserves. But then another thing happens, and you're just daisy-chained bad news all the time, or what's supposed to be important news all the time. And so sometimes things fall out of your head because you're like, I can't focus on everything at once, and some things I can't do anything about. And so after a while, you haven't heard about something long enough, you just assume it's been resolved if nobody's talking about it. But nobody's talking about it because there's so many things to talk about. And you also have to measure up how you feel about the world right now with the fact that everyone trying to give you news about the world also wants your money. They want a subscription from you. So they're just inundating you with all this stuff because maybe you'll like news from us. So we'll just keep sending you notifications. Because there's always a lot happening in the world. That's not different. The fact that we have access to it is different. I was thinking about all of this last week. I was just sitting there and thinking to myself, dang, we never did get those astronauts down. What's the plan? That was a while ago. We should probably do something about that. And look, it's not like I can do something about it. I care, but I can't help. It's not like when your loudest, dumbest friend is in a bar fight, and they're over there talking trash, or you're like, he over there though. I would never be able to get there in time. There's nothing I could possibly do. He's kind of on his own, which is a shame. I wish I could help, but he's all the way over there, and that other guy is very big, and no one was talking to me. So, in case you don't know, In case you missed it, which is understandable. There were two astronauts that went up, Butch and Sonny, and they went up to the International Space Station, and they were the first to, I believe, man this Boeing Starliner. So they went up in this Boeing Starliner, which some would say was a mistake. Because I don't know how many news stories you consumed last year, but Boeing was not having a fantastic year. And Boeing has different divisions, by the way. It's not all one thing. It's one company, but it's not all one thing. Everybody's not working on everything at the same time. So the plane people and the space people aren't necessarily the same, but by and large, as a company, wasn't looking good. You know? And so they went up to the International Space Station with this Boeing Starliner. And I'm not going to act like I understand or know how to do what astronauts do. I don't get it, and I'm glad that they do. Because astronauts, NASA, all of these experiments that they do in space have yielded incredible things for us down here on Earth that you wouldn't necessarily even connect to space. You know, like memory foam, inner ear thermometer, all the times that they've had to solve a problem up there, it's led to us having something dope down here. So keep going to space. I think that that's great. I don't know what you do up there, but all I know is it makes my life better, and I appreciate it. You know, because everything I know about working in space, I know from the movies. And whenever I see it in the movie, it's just the astronaut outside of the ship with a wrench. Every time I see it, it's Sandra Bullock or Bruce Willis outside the ship, just... I don't know what it is about space that makes screws so loose, but like, I genuinely assumed that a quarter of being an astronaut was just tightening. I don't know why space is so loose, but it's just you gotta keep it tight all the time. And so they send them up there, and this Boeing Starliner had a bunch of other problems. It had a bunch of other issues on the sort of unmanned tests that they were doing, you know. And so it's very brave of them to even go up there and be doing these experiments and try to make a better world for us, you know. They get up there, and they're supposed to be up there for like 8 days, right? And I don't know if they caught it or it got caught down here, but there were a bunch of problems with the Boeing Starliner. Some of them were helium leaks, because helium is incredibly hard to just capture, just keep it so light, and it's very easy to escape. And then they were worried about the thrusters, and so they were worried about control issues if they were to come down, right? Because Boeing used to be a better company. Boeing used to be a company that put engineers and innovation first. And then they had a bit of a merger, and that merger started to prioritize shareholders, prioritize the money. And so some of that innovation, some of those engineers started to fall to the wayside, and you have what we get now, planes that make you a little nervous and ships that only go one way. Because, make no mistake, Butch and Sonny are fine in the sense that they are the most seasoned astronauts that we have. You know, Sonny has logged potentially more hours than I think anybody should. 322 days in space, and she has logged like 50 hours of spacewalking and everything. She's like a true veteran, and even before that, she was a diver in the Navy, and she piloted combat helicopters. Like, she knows what she's doing. And Butch is the same way. Butch had already been on missions before this, and to be fair, this was going to potentially be one of their last missions. And so for them to go up in space for those 8 days, them getting some extra days, maybe they don't mind. I just am trying to not project how I would feel. Because if it were me, because once again, I'm not an astronaut. I can never be an astronaut. Not good enough at math, throw up too easy. So I don't give off astronaut, right? But if it had been me, if I had gone up into space, it was supposed to be 8 days, and then they were like, ooh, that ship, may not be able to send you back down in that ship, I would be like, oh, okay, cool. So when's the next ship coming up? And so some of this is being explained to me by my friend, so forgive me if I'm like a bit incorrect, but he's saying that not only are they good because of how seasoned they are and how much they genuinely love being in space, but also because they have these like pods and stuff and different things they can send up to give them supplies, give them food and everything, give them things to continue their experiments, more wrenches. I don't know what it is, but like they can send stuff up. And so in my head, I was like, oh, okay, all right. Like if you can send stuff up, like you can send a pod up or whatever, then why don't they just, like why don't they just hop in the pod when all the food, like after they get all the food out and they eat the food, oh, delicious, and then they get in, they could get in the pod, right? And then take the pod down. He's like, no, it doesn't actually work like that. You know, it's not a manable ship and it's too small and everything. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Why don't they make a bigger pod? You know, enough to like fit people with just some seats, just for fun, just some seats. And then they send that up, and they could even put like an Xbox controller in it, just to have something, you know? And then send them down with that. And he's like, Josh, it doesn't work like that. Like, everything you're saying doesn't make any sense. And I was like, okay, I understand that everything I'm saying doesn't make sense, but the way it does work is also sound like it doesn't make sense. To me. Just to me. All right? I'm not Butch and Sonny, and I'm not going to speak for them. I'm talking about if I was in space for too long, if it was me, which it will never be. It's not going to happen. I would pass out. So this isn't even a problem that we really have to discuss. I just couldn't get it out of my head. Because in my head, it's like to send me something, but not let me come back down in the thing you sent me would be like if I was stranded. Imagine, stranded on Earth. Let's say I'm just stranded on Earth somewhere, and you're worried about me, and you're worried about me having supplies, having food and everything. So you send me an Uber Eats. But then you go, no, don't get in the car. Don't get in the car. That's not how this works. This is not a car. This is a burrito car. See, you don't understand rocket science. This is a burrito car. You just try to get in any kind of car you want. That doesn't make sense. Stay there till we come get you with a car. Oh, it's tough. It really is. Because if you read articles and if you listen to interviews with Butch and Sonny, they're not just in great spirits. They, if they're to tell it, are getting all this extra time in space. Space is their passion. It's their happy place. And so it's somewhere where they can go that is unlike where any of us can go. They see a perspective of the Earth that most people will never get in person. That's beautiful. And the expanses that they get to wake up to, that's incredible, you know? And so if this really was going to be one of their last missions and it lasts all this extra time, there is something to be said for like, wow, I really got to spend a surprising amount of time in space. And I hope they feel that way. I really do. I just know if it was me, I would also be putting a good face on. So that way, everybody's working real hard to bring me down, and I can whoop some ass. That would be... Because you know how when you're on the phone with like customer service or something, you got to be extra nice, even though you get madder and madder and madder. Because if you start cursing, they're like, every time you swear at me, my computer seems to jam up. I don't know how the two are related, but they definitely are. May want to fix your attitude. No, I'm playing as nice as possible until I get down. And best believe when I get down, we're having it out. And I'm not even like a bad man like that. I can't even fight, but I tell you, I'm biting the first person I see. I cannot swing, but best believe I will catch a mouthful of your chin, all right? You leave me up there all this time? What's wrong with you? You must be out of your mind. You got me. Because look, I believe it. I believe that they love being in space, but everybody has a bad day. And I think a bad day in space is an extra bad day. Let's say you wake up, and it's just one of those days. You wake up wrong side of the pod. You know, very upset. And all you want to do is brush your teeth and maybe go read a book or something. You know? But you take your eyes off your toothbrush for 1 second. Now all of a sudden you... grab the toothpaste. Oh. Or maybe, you know, you got your coworkers up there. Butch and Sonny, I'm sure they get along, but there's other people in the space station that can leave. And so I'm sure, you know, you have your disagreements with your coworkers. We all have it. We all have it. You want to storm off. Very difficult in space. You want to storm off, but it just doesn't hit the same. Because when you storm off, you want everything to be perfect. You want to be loud as you storm off, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? You want the feet to be slamming. If you slam a door, you want it to really shake after it slams and everything. You don't get any of that in space. I remember one time I was trying to storm off. I felt like I was in the right, and I was done. I was really angry, and I tried to storm off. But I had a small hole in my shoe, and it had rained the day before. And so I was squeaking as I walked off. And that's a hard thing to come back from, because I had the storming off words ready. I was like, this discussion is over. So sure enough, you know, you want to storm off in space. Maybe your coworker's making you mad. And you've had enough of it. You've been up here for, 2 extra months or whatever. And you just want to go. So you're like, all right, that's how you feel? That's how you feel? All right, then you know what? You can finish the experiment yourself, because I'm out of here. I'm trying to leave. Well, I can empathize with where the astronauts are coming from, because I worked at a grocery store, right? And give me a second. That is wild. In the time I'm talking, I haven't built up enough trust that there's a point that I'm trying to... Y'all are rude. That's wild. Okay. Anyway. I used to work at a grocery store. And I worked at this grocery store, and one of the reasons I wanted the job and one of the reasons I got the job is because my apartment was only going to be 1 mile from my home store. So I could walk to work, and if I was late, could run, right? And then sure enough, when you get hired by this particular company, when you work for the company, you don't work just for that one store. You work for the district. And so what they can do is they can put you in different stores if they need to patch up. Maybe somebody quit and they need to patch up some shifts or something like that. And so when I first get hired, I'm willing to go wherever. And I'm only at my home store, but I'm taking up people's shifts. If anybody needs to switch with me or needs me to take their shift, I'm taking it if I can. I'm coming in every time they call me in because somebody called out. I'm actually coming in so much that I get a bunch of overtime, then they get mad at me and tell me to stop. But I was like, you called me. So I'm sorry I didn't self-snitch on the way in that this was hour 48 this week. Like, thought you needed help. And then one day, I get put on a different store, a store that's really far from my apartment. And it was because someone had quit abruptly, and so they needed someone there that week. So it was only supposed to be that week. And I get there. I had never been to this store before, but it's in a remarkably unfortunate, it is in a bad neighborhood, okay? And I don't mean bad neighborhoods in like they have crime sometimes. I'm talking about fundamentally everything about this place felt like the worst version of the Twilight Zone. This is the only place I've ever seen on 3 different occasions a rat walk out of the trap. And Tom and Jerry style, like really starting his day, yawning and everything, stretching his legs and stuff, going about his day. And it was one of the big industrial traps. I don't even know what's in those things, but it's supposed to kill rats. And that's where he was chilling. So these are grizzled veteran rats. And I go in the store first day, I'm ringing people up and everything. And this one person comes to my line. She only had one item. I scan her protein bar. She pays me, and as she's paying and she's putting the cash in my hand, she leans in a little bit, which was odd. That's not something that you normally do. And then when I'm handing her her change, she says, "Thank you. There's a poop in aisle 5," and then walks out. And I'm sure she didn't do it. I'm sure she didn't do it. But the way she walked out so quickly, I was like, do you have something to do with this? And so it's not really my problem. I'm hoping she was just joking. And so I just keep ringing people up, right? I'm just continuing to ring people up. And then my manager comes over, and my manager is like, "Hey, Josh, we gonna switch you off a register and put you on the floor for a little bit. Because, there's so many crazy things happening today. And so I'll go ahead and switch with you." And so then I had to count out my till and then go to the floor. Now, I'm still not electing myself to go to aisle 5, right? I went straight back to the back room to grab some chips that were out in front. And so I grabbed the box, and I'm opening the box and, starting to stock the chips. And I hear a scream. And so I'm like, okay, it must be real. I just hear someone go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And so then I just keep stocking because I'm like, I don't want that to be part of my life, right? And then I get a tap on the shoulder, and it's my manager. She's like, "Hey, there's a whole situation on aisle 5. If you don't mind checking it out real quick." And in my head, I'm like, I thought you were gonna be ringing people up. You just been trying to set me up this whole time, using some very convenient language. And so I walk over to aisle 5, and I see it, right? And the only thing on aisle 5, on the way to aisle 5, by the way, I passed 2 people who were running away from aisle 5. Like fully bumped me out of the way. Just like, huh, huh, huh. You know, like when you're in a zombie movie and everybody's running in one direction, but you got the shotgun, so you got to head towards the zombies. And so then I turn the corner, I see it, and the only thing on aisle 5 is it and one guy, and that one guy is looking at it, and then he looks at me and goes, I didn't do it. Didn't think you did, dog. Like, I understand you being just as shocked as I am, and so then I go to the back because I don't really know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, this has been laid at my feet and I don't feel prepared. And so I grab the broom and the dustpan and the kitty litter. And so that I go ahead and like scoop and litter and everything. And that was day one. That was the first day that I worked at that store. The second day, this older lady walked up to me at the register. I started ringing her up and everything, and she was hitting on me hard. And she was hitting on me in the way that older people can hit on you because they're not saying anything vulgar, but they're being very vulgar at the same time. They're not using the words, but you can tell the intent is there. And so she walked up and she was like, hi, young man. And I was like, that's the wildest I've ever been called young man in my life, because she really hit that hard A with the man. It lasted forever. She's like, how you doing, young man? And I'm sitting there like the name tag says Josh, like it. And so I'm ringing her up and she's like, what you doing later? And I was like, work. I'm just ringing things up as fast as I can. And then she's like, can you bag it for me? I was like, sure. So I'm putting it in the bag. She looks at me and she's like, I like the way you do it. And I'm like, you can see what I'm saying. Like, this is X-rated, what she's doing to me right now. But it's all under the radar. It's all, if you try to call her out for this right now, she'd be like, I'm not doing anything. But like, we can all hear it together right now. Like, I like the way you do it. I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks so much. Meanwhile, I'm just ringing up can after can of prunes. It's just nothing but prunes. It's like the store's worth of prunes. In my head, I'm like, there's no way she's gonna be able to carry all this. I put the last one in the bag. And she was like, I'll see you when I come back. And I've never felt more undressed in my life. It was day 2. And day 3, I was ringing somebody up. My manager walks up and they're like, hey, just so you know, watch that guy over there. You know, turn your head, watch that guy. And she pointed to this dude and she was like, look, we forgot to mention this, but he does come in here periodically and you just need to watch him because he will eventually start arguing with the cantaloupes. And I always try to be respectful of my bosses and stuff, but I did turn to her like, what am I supposed to do about that? Break it up? Like, what do you expect? Why you even tell me this information? We have a security guard, right? And so I'm bringing people up, and like 5 customers later, I hear in the distance, don't talk to me like that. And so immediately I turn my head to our security guard. Our security guard, all I see is his back foot walking out of the store. Because we always had security guards on hand because it's a bad neighborhood and everything, but at the same time, they were allowed to take their break whenever they wanted. So then I think he saw the cantaloupe argument breaking out. He was like, that sounds like a great time to have a snack. I'm hearing a snack right now. And so then my manager comes over and she's like, we should go say something. And so we walk over. And this dude's holding this cantaloupe and, you know, letting the cantaloupe have it. He's like, you always do this. And so I'm like, hey, sir, how you doing? Hello? Hi. And he's not listening to me at all because this is the point in the argument where he got his receipts ready. He's like, no, because last time you said, he's like making all of his really good points and he doesn't want to be interrupted. Right? I was like, hey, could you just keep it down a little bit? You're scaring some of the other customers, right? And this guy was like, oh, I'm sorry. Which I could not have seen coming. This guy goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get loud. It just, you know how it is. I was like, yeah, no, I know. Yeah, cool. I'll go back to ringing people up, and then like several customers later, maybe 10 customers later, I see this dude in my line. And I start ringing up this one customer slow. Because I was like, maybe someone else will finish in time for him to get in another line. I do not want to have a conversation with this dude. And as I'm ringing them up, this guy's holding the cantaloupe and he goes, don't start again. Don't start again. And right as I look up, he's like, you know what? We're through. And he slammed the cantaloupe down. And I know he was arguing with a cantaloupe. But in that moment, I was like, oh. This dude storms out of the store and everything. And I gotta clean the cantaloupe up. And as I'm cleaning up, I'm like, I'm sorry he hurt you. And that was just 3 days working there. You know, 3 days working there. And I was supposed to be there for a week. And they ended up having me there for 6 months. So when I tell you I can empathize with what the astronauts are going through, like some of y'all should be glad because you didn't believe in me at all. Like some of y'all, as soon as I spoke, you're like, he thinks he's an astronaut. Because even if you love space, even if you love being up there and that's your happy place and everything, which I totally get and I hope that that's the case. I'm sure if you went up there and they told you it was going to be 8 days, that you probably had plans. It was June of 2024. I'm sure you wanted to do something else before the end of the year besides float. You know, I'm sure they would love to. I'm going to go out on limb and say it. Probably vote in person. That probably would have been great. And now they're up there. And I even saw an article that said that they had initially said it was going to be February of 2025 when they were able to get them down. They told them that in September. And then it got pushed a little bit more, so to like March of 2025. And then I just saw an article that said that there have been some developments and they may actually be able to go up there and get them early. If it were me, I'd be like, don't say early around me. Don't say early around me at all. Because Butch and Sonny are up there and they're going to be returning to a very different Earth. which might be why they so cool with being left up there. That might be it. They're probably like, nah, I'm good. I'm chilling.